16 years had passed since the end of the Second World War, and the world was faced with the danger that man's achievements over thousands of years would be destroyed in a new, even more devastating conflict. The voice of reason and of the conscience of mankind was raised before the danger of a new war, of a new catastrophe on a worldwide scale. In the atmosphere created by the Cold War and nuclear explosions, millions of people sought an opportunity to make their views heard in the world. It seemed that their desire would remain unfulfilled. But conscious of the role in which history has cast them, many non-aligned countries decided that their heads of state and government should meet in Belgrade. Representatives of states on 4 continents, presidents and prime ministers of 25 big and small countries with differing social systems came to attend the Belgrade Conference of the non-aligned countries. They were all drawn to Belgrade by one desire: to appeal to the world to join the common struggle for the preservation of peace. President Josip Broz Tito of Yugoslavia, the host of the conference, was at Belgrade airport to welcome the distinguished guests. His meetings with old and new friends, who had all chosen the road of peace and peaceful cooperation, were very cordial. On the 1st of September, there was an air of excitement in the streets of Belgrade and in front of the Federal Parliament building where the conference was to take place. The citizens of Belgrade lined the streets to greet their guests. All these smiling people, young and old, were aware that the talks just about to start in their town would open up new prospects and vistas of hope for the anxious world and show that there were ways of averting the dangers threatening mankind. The delegates, assembled in the conference hall, decided that in the present situation, they should give their immediate attention to the following questions: the general situation in the world, the establishment and strengthening of international peace and security, respect for the rights of nations to self-determination, the struggle against imperialism, and the liquidation of colonialism and neocolonialism, respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states, and non-interference in their internal affairs, racial discrimination and the policy of apartheid, general and complete disarmament, the banning of nuclear experiments, and the maintenance of military bases on foreign territory, peaceful coexistence among states with different social systems, the role and structure of the United Nations and the application of its resolutions, unequal economic development, the improvement of international economic and technical cooperation, and a number of other questions.
ለገለልተኛ አገሮች በተደረገው ጥሪ መሰረት ነው። ስለዚህ ከሁሉ አስቀድሞ ስራችንን ከመጀመራችን በፊት ገለልተኛ ምን ማለት እንደሆነ
For 5 days, the heads of state and government of countries in Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America took their turn at the rostrum.
Alignment policy is not a policy of seeking for a neutral position in case of war, Non-aligned policy is not a policy of neutrality without its own color.
Ja sam ovdje iznio nekoliko najkrupnijih kolonijalnih problema, a koji svaki za sebe predstavlja opasnost za mir u svijetu. Ali postoji još ne mali broj kolonijalnih naroda, čije oslobođenje i nezavisnost neophodno potrebno ostvariti radi otklanjanja jednog od najkrupnijih elemenata današnje zategnutosti u svijetu i stalne opasnosti od zazivanja ratnih sukoba.
Fondé sur la lutte d'influence, sur la force, sur l'armement à outrance, sur les pactes militaires, sur la concepción.
Pero ello no basta. Es necesario además que se oiga nuestra
The conference was still in progress when people realized that a historic meeting was taking place in Belgrade.
على اختلاف ألوانهم وأجناسهم واتجاهاتهم الروحية والمذهبية.
Mais que l'on sache que nous avons dû faire face à de multiples tentatives impérialistes.
The 25 heads of delegations were unanimous in their appraisal that the question of war or peace was not a matter concerning the great nuclear powers alone. In view of the threat which nuclear armament presented to the world as a whole, this question was one concerning all nations and every individual.
In world affairs, we cannot, in my view, rely on the haphazard form of consultation, which we have employed in the past.
All the problems having been comprehensively reviewed, the heads of the delegations met in closed sessions in the building of the Federal Executive Council to draw up the final documents, a statement on the dangers of war and an appeal for peace, and the declaration of the heads of state and government of the non-aligned countries. These two documents, written in simple but impressive words, appeal to the world to join the common struggle for the preservation and consolidation of peace and for the settlement of all burning problems by way of negotiations. During the official part of the conference, the delegates showed the world the roads to friendship and cooperation. Sincere friendship between the delegates and the need for maintaining close international contacts and for staying outside the existing power blocks found expression during intimate, unofficial meetings and receptions. The peaceful activity of the delegates was marked in a symbolic way. Each head of delegation planted a tree in the new park in front of the building of the Federal Executive Council. This avenue of peace will remind generations to come of the historic conference in Belgrade in September 1961. On the fifth day, the delegates met once again to approve the statement on the dangers of war and an appeal for peace, and the declaration of the heads of state and government of the non-aligned countries. After the two documents had been unanimously adopted in full, the delegates left the Federal Parliament building in Belgrade. They left for home to announce the results of their successfully completed work.